My name is Chelsea McEwen.
And I'm Regina Rios, and we are the marketing team for our upcoming production of The Birds.
And we're here with our director, Keith Barker, Artistic Director of Native Earth, Canada's oldest professional Indigenous theatre company. And we are delighted to ask him some questions about our upcoming play and the rehearsal process.
So Keith, what are some of the greatest joys that you've encountered throughout this rehearsal process?
That's a great question. I think for me, I always like a collaborative room, like bringing people together. And one of the greatest joys for me was that right on first day, you all came up to me and started saying, we've got some ideas for music. So we created original music for the show. And then also had Pedro come up to me and say, like, I have some ideas for choreography. And so, you know, in order to build a show, we have 18 people in the room with us. So we have 18 minds all thinking about the show. So it's always great to have everybody's input on how we make the show together. It gives everybody ownership to it.
And so any challenges to contrast that?
Yeah, I would say challenges would just be time. I think if we had another week, I mean, everyone always wants another week. I feel like we would, you know, it always continues to grow, and I think everyone will have it on opening night, but it's always great just to have more time because I feel like another week of rehearsal would have been awesome.
So what's it been like to come all the way over here to the West Coast? Have you ever directed in Victoria before?
I have not directed in Victoria before. This is the first time I've come out here and done that, and being on the West Coast is pretty awesome. Like, you know, I live in Toronto, and yeah, it's hot and muggy, and it's a big city, and so it's nice to be on the ocean. It's also nice to be in a smaller community. I also just love exploring new cities that I haven't spent a lot of time in. So Victoria, of course, is like, it's kind of a cool city just to kind of get on a bicycle. So I borrowed a bicycle from the school, and so I bike back and forth every day from my apartment. So I get to see all kinds of different aspects of the city, which is great.
You know Yvette Nolan personally. What's your relationship like with her, and how did that affect your directing of this play?
That's a great question. I was an artistic associate under Yvette Nolan when she was artistic director at Native Earth. And so I actually got to see her direct a few pieces. She's directed me a few times in a couple shows. So the thing I always love about Abed is that she always makes choices that it's about community. She always brings a community of artists together, like we circle up every day. You know, that's part of the practice I took from Abed, is that idea of checking in and being with everybody. I also just love her vision. She always has a great idea of how to tell stories. And so there's no one protagonist. It's a community story, so it's all about everybody. So if you feel about The Birds, it's not about it's not one person's story. It's more than one. So that's the thing I always enjoy exploring when we do one of her plays.
Well, what was it like to bring in Lindsay Dale as your movement consultant and work alongside her?
Well, it was great because we touched on a bunch of things around the play that Yvette, like an Indigenous worldview, and in terms of first contact, and things that Yvette was, like what Yvette's politics were, and where a lot of these references in the play come from. And what I loved is that Lindsay brought it into the room in a way that was just different, right? She was able to speak of it from her own perspective. And I think really, like, she opened up the dialogue around decolonizing and about colonization and about reconciliation and what those things mean. And then she also shared the way she moves and how she works with people, and a lot of work that she's doing at the university to kind of decolonize practice and stuff like that. So I just felt like she brought this really positive and beautiful energy into the room, and just opened. I felt like everyone's hearts opened. And you know, like, some of these conversations are hard. So when you have someone really like thoughtful and very present with people and introducing in that way, it kind of opens people up in a way that's really, I think, really helps the play.
Why is this play so important to share with everyone? What should people walk away with?
That's a good question. I never want to teach people. Like, I want people to come to the theater because they enjoy art. They get to see art, and they get to experience a beautiful story that's, you know, funny or, you know, moving or, you know, hard to watch, but like, you're challenged in theater to watch these pieces. So to me, it's like, I don't necessarily want to teach people, but what I do as a byproduct is that people leave and think about what they've seen. And someone goes, oh, you know, I want to Google that. Wait a second, well, what does that mean, or something like those little things that percolate. The thing I think when we've done our job is that it sticks with people. And 2 days later, they're still thinking about it. It's like, I don't know what it was, but that play was talking about something that I feel like they were just talking about, like, what is my relationship to the land, and what is my relationship to the environment, and like, what can I be doing? So that to me is like in a win-win. They would walk away and start thinking about what their relationships are with the land, with people, and what Indigenous people's relationship is, and about the First Peoples that were here and everything.
Thank you so much, Keith. And you can join us at the Birds, running from October 17th to October 20th. Get your tickets now.
Come see the show, and if you're in jail, break out.